Think 22LR is just for plinking cans or teaching kids to shoot. Think again. In 2025, rimfire ammo has gone absolutely wild, and some of these loads hit harder, expand faster, and do more internal damage than anyone thought possible from a 22. This isn't your grandpa's rimfire. These are rounds designed to hunt, defend, and dominate in ways that redefine what 22LR can do. In this video, we're ranking and breaking down the most powerful, surprising, and downright lethal 22LR loads on the market right now, and by the end you'll never look at rimfire the same way again. Let's slow things down a bit and talk about a round that doesn't scream for attention. But man, it delivers. This is the one I grab when I don't want to overthink things, when I just want to load up and know the job's going to get done. I'm talking about the CCI Velocitor 40-grain copper-plated hollow point. Now, it doesn't break any records on paper, clocking in at around 1,435 feet per second. It's not the fastest, and with a 40-grain weight, it's not the lightest either. But that's exactly what makes it so damn reliable. It's the Goldilocks round of the 22 world. Not too fast, not too light, just right. What sets Velocitor apart is how it behaves on impact. It expands beautifully, clean, symmetrical, and deep. You're looking at consistent penetration in the 12 to 14-inch range through gel, which checks the boxes for both hunting and defensive use. I've personally used this round on varmints, and let me tell you, it doesn't just drop them, it anchors them. No spinning, no twitching, just lights out. Accuracy-wise, this thing groups like a dream out of rifles. My 1022 absolutely loves it. Tight, consistent, predictable, and out of compact pistols, it still runs like a champ. You don't get that with every 40-grain round, especially ones designed to expand. Now, it's not flashy. There's no explosive fragmentation or unicorn glitter when it hits. But that's the charm. The Velocitor is that friend who shows up early, gets the job done, and never asks for credit. The kind of round you keep a few boxes of at the back of the safe, because when stuff gets weird, you know you can count on it. So, if you're tired of all the gimmicks and want a round that's simply effective, time-tested, and built for performance without the drama, give the Velocitor a try. It's not loud, but it speaks for itself the moment it leaves the barrel. Now let's talk about a round that doesn't look like much at first glance, but hits with all the subtlety of a sucker punch in a dark alley. The Federal Punch is built specifically for one job, to go deep and not stop until it's out the other side. It doesn't care about expansion, fragmentation, or looking cool in slow-mo. It's the quiet profession, designed from the ground up for self-defense in 22LR pistols, especially those short-barreled pocket guns like the Ruger LCP-2. The Punch is built like a little brass needle with bad intentions. It's a 29-grain flat-nose projectile with a nickel-plated casing for reliable cycling, even in semi-autos that usually don't like hollow points. In gel testing, it consistently penetrates 12 to 16 inches, even through heavy clothing. No drama, no failure to feed, no tumbling nonsense. Just a straight, angry path that says, I didn't come here to make friends. Let's be honest, expansion is great if you can get it. But with rimfire, expansion is hit or miss in compact guns. The Punch bypasses that whole gamble. Instead, it relies on a clean wound channel and deep penetration, which is exactly what law enforcement and FBI standards look for in centerfire ammo. It's like Federal took that philosophy and shrunk it down for rimfire carry. Is it sexy? No. Is it flashy? Definitely not. But if I had to trust a rimfire to save my skin in a tight situation, the Punch would be at the top of my list. It's not a showboat, it's a problem solver. Also, bonus points. It feeds beautifully. If you've ever tried to run finicky hollow points through a 22 semi-auto, you know what a nightmare that can be. The Punch was made to eliminate that headache. And boy, does it deliver. So yeah, it may not explode like a firecracker, but if you're talking real-world self-defense with rimfire, the Federal Punch doesn't play. It finishes the job. You ever meet someone who doesn't say much, doesn't dress flashy, but when stuff hits the fan, they're the first one fixing the fence, feeding the dog, and patching the roof, all before lunch? That's the Winchester Super-X 40-grain copper-plated hollow point. No hype, no gimmicks, just results. It's one of the oldest names in the 22 game, and for good reason. With a muzzle velocity around 1,280 FPS and a solid 40-grain weight, it strikes a perfect balance between speed and stability. It doesn't fragment or explode, but what it does do is expand consistently and penetrate deep enough to matter. This round was built for hunting, and it shows flat trajectory, solid accuracy, and great performance in both bolt guns and semi-autos. I've dropped raccoons, possums, and the occasional nosy fox with Super-X, and they all did the same thing. Hit the ground like someone flipped their off switch. You won't find dramatic gel block footage with this one. It doesn't care about YouTube glory. It just works. And honestly, that's what a lot of us are looking for. Ammo that goes bang, hits what it's supposed to, and doesn't cost half your paycheck. People sometimes overlook it because it doesn't have that new car smell. But there's a reason this round has been on shelves for decades. It gets the job done, every single time. If the newer loads are Hollywood, the Super-X is a seasoned-old cowboy with a six-shooter and a bad attitude toward varmints. And in a world full of tactical flashlights and carbon fiber coffee mugs, that's kind of refreshing. Let's kick things off with a round that's been around the block. And then some. The CCI Stinger isn't just a household name in the 22 LR world, it's basically the rock star of rimfire. You mention high velocity in a gun shop, and someone's going to say Stinger before you even finish the sentence. This thing clocks in at a screaming 1,640 feet per second, and that's with a light 32-grain copper-plated hollow point. Some folks dismiss it for being too light. Well, tell that to the rabbit that did a backflip after catching one to the chest. When you're dealing with something that moves this fast, energy transfer becomes its own kind of weapon. The expansion on impact is snappy, like opening a switchblade inside a Jell-O mold. It mushrooms out wide and quick, dumping nearly 200 foot-pounds of energy into whatever poor critter or target happens to be in its way. In ballistic gel, the Stinger often shows an impressive temporary wound cavity, something you don't usually associate with a rimfire round. It's flashy, sure, but it earns the show. What really sets the Stinger apart, though, is how versatile it is. You can run it through your Ruger 10/22 for some explosive varmint action, or chamber it in a compact pistol when you want some extra bite in a pinch. Self-defense with 22 LR is a controversial topic. Don't worry, we'll get into that. But if you're going to carry rimfire, you better choose a round that hits like it means it. The Stinger fits that bill. And yeah, it's loud. This isn't a whispery little subsonic. It barks, it cracks, and if you're at an indoor range with short barrels, prepare to make friends or enemies. Depends on how much they like their eardrums. Bottom line, the CCI Stinger is fast, loud, and devastating. It's the sprinter of the 22 LR family, lean, twitchy, and terrifying when it moves. If you're not giving it serious respect, you're sleeping on a legend. All right, brace yourself, because this is where things start getting downright weird, in the best way possible. You remember the title, right? Number 3 is unreal. Yeah, I wasn't being dramatic. I'm talking about the Winchester Silvertip 37-grain segmented hollow point. And let me tell you, when I first saw what this round did to ballistic gel, I had to replay it 3 times. Thought my camera glitched? Nope, it just shredded the gel, like sliced it open like a Ziploc full of soup. Now, most 22 LR hollow points try to mushroom or flatten out, maybe tumble a little. That's cute. The Silvertip doesn't play that game. Instead, it splits, literally, into 3 or 4 sharp, jagged pieces on impact. We're talking fragmentation that fans outward in multiple directions, tearing separate wound channels through soft tissue. It's like someone crammed a mini Claymore mine into a rimfire case. What makes this so unreal isn't just the damage, it's the intentional design. Winchester didn't just get lucky, this was engineered to fragment, to maximize internal chaos without over-penetrating. That's huge for self-defense, especially indoors or at close range. You don't want your round sailing through your target and into the drywall, or worse, your neighbor's fish tank. And this thing is surprisingly well-mannered in semi-autos. It fed just fine in both my Ruger SR22 and my old Smith & Wesson Victory. No nosedives, no stovepipes. That segmented tip may look aggressive, but it runs smooth, like a greased hedgehog. Here's the kicker. A lot of folks still don't even know this round exists. It's been flying under the radar, but in 2025, it's making waves fast. especially after those gel test videos started making the rounds on YouTube and gun forums. One guy even called it the 22 that thinks it's a .410 slug. Bold? Maybe, but I don't blame him. Bottom line, the Silvertip earns its spot not just because it's deadly, but because it's different. It's unpredictable. It's got personality. It breaks the rules in all the right ways. And it works. If you haven't seen it in action yet, go look it up. But maybe don't watch it right after lunch. Let me put you onto something that a lot of folks are still sleeping on. It's not American-born. It doesn't have flashy branding, and it sure isn't on most people's shortlist. But it should be. The Norma Hunter-22 Power, straight out of Sweden, is one of the most underrated 22 LR hollow points on the market right now. At 40 grains and about 1,260 feet per second, this round flies a little under the radar. It doesn't scream hypervelocity, but what it does is hit like a damn brick through a screen door. It expands reliably, punches clean wound channels, and, best of all, it doesn't ruin your meat if you're hunting small game. That's a big deal if you're not trying to turn a squirrel into red mist. Where this little powerhouse really shines is in consistency. Norma's known for tight tolerances, and you feel it when you shoot. Same point of impact, same recoil impulse, box after box. Whether I'm running it through a bolt gun or a suppressed semi-auto, it just works. And at around 10 to 11 cents a round, that's some serious bang for your buck. I like to call this one the quiet killer. It's not a showboat, but when you stack it up against the big names, it holds its own. And then some. Plus, it feeds like butter and doesn't seem to care what platform you're running it from. If you haven't tried it yet, grab a box while it's still flying under the radar, because once more folks see what it does in gel and in the field, this thing's going to go from hidden gem to cult favorite faster than a prairie dog hits the dirt. Time to give some love to the budget bruiser, Aguila Super Extra Hollow Point. You've probably seen this stuff stacked high at the gun shop with a price tag that makes you raise an eyebrow. And yeah, I know what some folks think. Cheap 22 must be dirty, weak, or unreliable. But let me stop you right there. This little round is a whole lot more than just affordable. Aguila has quietly become one of the biggest rimfire producers in the world, and their Super Extra line is no joke. The hollow point version, typically pushing 38 to 40 grains at around 1,250 FPS, offers expansion that rivals stuff twice its price. I've shot bricks of it through everything from old Marlin lever actions to suppressed Ruger pistols. And the performance? Shockingly solid. No, it's not match grade. But we're not talking Olympic shooting here. We're talking groundhogs, tin cans, and backyard plinking that turns into surprise terminal ballistics testing. And in that realm, Aguila delivers. In gel, you'll see reliable expansion, especially when fired from rifle-length barrels. Out of pistols, it still gets the job done, and that's more than I can say for some pricier ammo that chokes in blowback actions. Aguila tends to cycle better than you'd expect, and I've had fewer duds than with certain premium brands I won't name. You know who you are. Is it glamorous? No. Does it make gel blocks explode? Not quite. But when you need a box you can afford, and bullets you can trust, this stuff shows up ready to work. Aguila's not out here trying to impress. Hornady V-MAX is your ticket. It doesn't just do the job, it puts on a show while doing it. And there you have it. 8 of the nastiest little rimfire rounds making noise in 2025. If you've made it this far, thanks for hanging out with me. I always appreciate your time and your curiosity. If you enjoyed the ride, hit that like button and consider subscribing. It helps more than you think, and it tells me to keep these deep dives coming. Got a favorite 22 round I missed? Drop it in the comments. I read them all. Stay sharp, shoot safe, and I'll see you in the next one.